Mayegun no one make person talk. Them say that Mayegun, that man too they talk. He too they talk. Say Mayegun diary, he dey hot like pepper. But every day then they take money in bulk. Woman pikin dey the street they hawk. Still them talk say make we no talk. But thank God say Mayegun don't come. So my people make you laugh. Oh yo yo, Mayegun don't come. Oh yo yo, my people make you shout. Oh yo yo, Mayegun don't come. Oh yo yo, Mayegun the command of the masses. Oh yo yo, Mayegun don't come. Oh yo yo, Mayegun diary politico. Oh yo yo, Mayegun don't come. Oh yo yo, this man not dey off in mind. Oh yo yo, Mayegun don't come.
Hello there. Morning to you, good afternoon to you, and good evening to you again. From wherever you are watching me from, it is Mayegun Live. Martinelli. Remember, read the caption of this broadcast. Invite your friends, invite your not so friendly friends, and tell them that Mayegun today, and it is the prime time as well. After reading, like the broadcast, share it, all right? And then sit back and relax to enjoy it tonight. And it is from what I picked. I picked it up when I was, strolling the street earlier this afternoon. And it is the scream and the lamentations of some northerners. I mean, they love to be called Arewa. So the Arewas are lamenting. And why is that? Well, the fuel scarcity that is currently spreading all over Nigeria seems to have taken a very strong foothold in northern Nigeria. Sokoto to be precise. Sholera Litre according to 5. Because he may be coming to the town next to you. A liter of petroleum at 2,000 naira or 2,500 coming to town next to you. Also, while we sleep, last night, tragedy struck. Nigeria happened to a lot of people. 5 people lost their lives in an inferno caused by a crashed fuel tanker along East-West Road. I have the 2 clips, the during and the after. If you are still in doubt that whatever you experienced in their charade last year called elections, you must probably tell yourselves now that that is a tip of the iceberg. If you are preparing for 2027, well, I have some information for you. And as for Yeye Bello, the story is not going away. He seems to be fighting back, but in secret. Motide. So good morning to you once again. Good afternoon to you and good evening to you from wherever you are joining me from. It is Mayegun Live for those who are watching it live, it doesn't really matter, all right? Whether you are watching it live or you are watching this later, it is the message there, in this that really matters, right? Well, let's start from the rider, the headline. The fuel scarcity in Nigeria is not new, but there are some tricky, fraudulent or corrupt activities that do kind of prompt the scarcity. After government must have lied repeatedly again and again and again to cover up their own inefficiencies and incompetencies, plus corruption. So many factors. And when people tell you, listen, when people say elections have consequences, it is also a two-headed sword, okay? Elections have consequences mean that sometimes when you are wishing something on yourself, you should probe it better and not possibly just follow the crowd. Probe it better and see if it is actually something for you, or you are indirectly promoting, supporting, and even voting for your own death warrant, kind of. The other one is that even when you now choose not to be part of their elections, or to be part of their elections and all that, which is fine, but you are still going to end up being ruled by the people you did not choose, people you did not elect. But when they begin their misgovernance, you will not be spared too. Every action have consequences. Remember that. But you see, this message is mostly for those who stood in the rain and the sun and even bled or even killed people for these criminals to come to power. Okay? And today, they are the victims of this misgovernance. And they are also becoming those who are the loudest, complaining about what they at least embraced. You know what I mean, right? So it is very much important to kind of put it before you that every of your action or your inaction, they all have consequences. When rogues, whether they deceived you or they forced themselves on you and the rest of that, when rogues get away with their crimes, especially in the course of governance, when they get away with one, they are emboldened, okay? And as you have it in Nigeria, it has now become entrenched, which means it is like Nigeria is cursed now, okay? Over the years, the people, as well as their ruiners called rulers, they have succeeded in entrenching a system that is so deeply corrupt that except it is completely wiped out, there is no amendment to it. And as it is, to even wipe it out now has become a bigger problem. A bigger problem in the sense that these criminals have gained foothold. They control every institution. Every institution is compromised. So it's going to actually be a confrontation at the end of the day. But before it gets to confrontation, I think it should first come from sober reflection of your actions or your inactions. But let's start with the actions. The northern Nigeria is believed to be a very strong and powerful, voting bloc in Nigeria. No matter how they vote, they kind of give them that credit. Oh, northern Nigeria, the three Kardashians, Kaduna, Kano, Katsina, they are the result that always come last. Okay? And once they land, that is when you will see 1.5 million, 2 million votes for APC and no void votes. But yet, there are still those, the region, that suffers the worst of the worst bad governance in Nigeria. Northern Nigeria. But they do brag about our voting strength, our this or that. Most of it is actually fake. Oh, do you understand that now? The figures coming, whether it is a census figure, whether it is election figure, coming from northern Nigeria, they are more than 80 to 90% fake. But they hold on to it. It has never worked for them. It has never brought real development to them. It has never brought real prosperity to them. It has never brought to them any real development. I'm talking about even safety. But their chances, the criminal northern politicians or their ruling class, it is a sort of a secret weapon that they have kept to use against Nigeria and the rest of Nigeria. Put it that way. So it has never really worked for them. But they continue to kind of pose them as a bigger threat to anything progress in Nigeria. So when the consequences of their political decisions or association begin to manifest, it is also like in two ways. The hypocrisy stinks, right? Northern Nigeria has over 70 to 80% of poor people. And I'm not making this up, okay? Northern Nigeria has ruled Nigeria. Out of the 63 years, going to 64 years of Nigeria independence, the criminal northern elite, they have ruined Nigeria in those 63 years, 47 years of it. It hasn't brought any real development to northern Nigeria. Okay? So, Kolu and his gang, let's even agree that Kolu and his gang were never really voted for, rigged. But to some extent, some of these criminal northern politicians, failed politicians, those who have kept their people and their region in perpetuity of poverty and terrorism, right? Well, they finally found their own space inside their Tifnumbu's illegitimate government, but still they couldn't they won't make any difference, so to say, except for those who are expecting. When I started seeing them, the Arewas, because of what? Because of fuel scarcity. Because you are buying a liter for 2,500, 3,000 naira. Suddenly, Tifnumbu is going to be a one-term president. I mean, Papa, I'm going to tell you something though. They strongly believe that they are those who will decide or determine who become president in Nigeria. Even though it has never been used to their own advantage ever, right? But they do believe that. Somehow believe in that myth. You made a madman, a drug dealer, drug lord, your president. You think this your north, south, and all of that still exists in his book. So when I saw them saying, he's going to be a one-term president, he has disappointed Arewa for 8 years. That's the hypocrisy part of it, because I said it's a two-way thing. If their own man is there, I've never seen this kind of madness in my life. I've never seen this kind of thing in my life. Under Bokuwari, the northern Nigeria became the stream, especially the middle belt part of Nigeria, became a stream of blood. And the Sharia North continue to threaten everybody who tried to say anything. Because if you say anything against Bokuwari, if you try to out Bokuwari, it was considered as a threat or an attack on northern Nigeria. Less than a year after Bokuwari is gone, it can be like, say, northern Nigeria can no longer take it. We can no longer take this. It is not about their people. It is about power. Power for themselves. They had it for 47 years. It didn't change the lives of any goddamn person in that higher contraption. Northern Nigeria. But right now, they are buying a liter of petrol for 2,000 naira. It's going to get worse. So me, I am going to be here all the time to remind you. Because whatever I say to you, these are not what I do. Okay? There are those who are actually doing things that will continue to make your lives uncomfortable. Not me. And you are going to continue to allow them until you won't anymore, until you can no longer probably like cope with it anymore. And that is yet to be seen. Would you ever get tired enough to say, okay, enough? No? I'll come back to that. Talking about saying enough. Is it Nigerians are a kind of I don't know if I should use the word unique. No. Nigerians are very, very strange people. Okay? If you are watching me from outside, I mean, if you're from other parts of Africa, you probably know this too, but you do not understand. Oh, see, there was a time I was actually following a conversation on Twitter, X, and this conversation is between some other Africans, okay? And they were talking about dictatorship in Africa. And they're talking about bad governance, bad leaders and all that. And how their people are being treated in these different countries. And then some of them actually agreed that Nigerians are the most freest of all Africans. It's a little bit somehow complicated, Abby. Okay, I'll tell you what they meant. In some African countries, they have leaders who have been in power for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. And currently, Africa has the highest population of young people. Nigeria alone is reported to have, the population of young people makes up about 70% of the entire population of the country. And we're talking about young people who are between the ages of 30 between the ages of 0 to 30. As 70% of your entire population, that's massive. It is almost same in so many other African countries. Majority of them, young people, right? They were born into dictatorship in their countries. Government that their parents have fought but couldn't. They didn't win. So they are still living under those arrangements in some of these countries, right? But they believe that Nigerians are so free, they are so loud, they could criticize, they could say anything about their politicians than other African countries. So you as a Nigerian or from Nigeria, you probably will feel somehow like, is that really true? Well, if you have to compare, yeah, it could be true, but it is probably not really true. It's not true that Nigerians are like loud, we talk, we criticize, we do this and that. But that doesn't really mean that we are as possibly determined, organized as some other African countries who have taken on their different establishments and they have won. In recent time, is that of Senegal. Okay, so just kind of giving you an example in that regard, because in Nigeria, you see there are people who are like the loudest and the rest of them that you are hearing, you are seeing online. Majority of them, they are not screaming or criticizing because they hate the way Nigeria is being run. No. Majority of them are screaming and crying loud. They're like outspoken and loud because they are cut off from the corruption. They are not benefiting. Okay? Some are doing it to get the attention of those who are actually in charge of the looting. That is where it is a bit different from other African countries. Because some of you in other African countries, right, you tend to be like serious when you want to take on your own government or you criticize and going after them, kind of, right? You tend to be more serious. But I don't know much about you, so anyway, so I'm talking about Nigeria now. Where Nigerians will tell you, rig and die. Election, right? Let's start from the elections. Because, yeah, Nigerians do hold the elections, but it's not election. It is a total mockery of what an election should be. You know what I mean? Like, you could say you're having an election, right? And then there will be no election, okay? But there will be announcements of winners and losers. There will be allocation of results. Something that even when they take it to their court, the court will stamp it and say it's authentic. That's how institutions have become so compromised. And the politicians who have made sure that all these institutions are compromised and they are filled with the people who are loyal to them, not to the country, right? So that automatically just makes it a total charade, okay? Like, that's not a democracy, you know, that's not. Nigerians will talk and do all of that, but that's it. Most of the time, we couldn't really take it or push it through to really get something out of it. Most of the time, people just hands up. Oh, there's nothing we can do, Jerry. They've done their worst. But before election, Nigerians have all the English you can think of, all the strategy. They can even predict what will happen if anybody tries to rig. Then they will now sit back and watch them rig them. Like they will be watching them, they will see them rigging. The Nigerians will now come out. Hey, look at them, oh, they are already rigging. Oh. Meanwhile, before the elections, you will see them Nigerians will tell you, nobody can rig this election. If anybody tries it, see, I've seen the people are so determined. Though. If you try to touch their attention, they will come for you. All lies. Because once the rigging starts, the people will tell you that if you try it, go do this or that. And them go begin the crowd. Yeah, United States, US, you are seeing what is going on now. UK, United Nations. You are looking at this. They are, you know. And then the whole thing would be done. And they will say, okay, let's try next time again. They try it next time. Baba, they will do it again and again until you stop them. For those of you who are participating in their charade. Okay? So they are currently having the local, where they were supposed to have the local government elections in Nortj State today. But some of the supposed opposition parties, candidates, who were getting ready to possibly slug it out with the incumbent or the ruling party in the states, they met the shock of their lives when they realized that the election also is just a formality, okay? The result has already been written. So they put up some show, you know, they could only do that temporarily because it has been decided. They will tell you to go to court. So to those of you who are possibly muting the idea of 2027, I don't know why humans are I don't know if that's how humans are made in this way, okay? But are you actually willing to go head to head with a rigged system that is working exactly how they wanted it to work? Are you really willing to go head to head with them? Because that's what I saw today. People started, they are on social media. They were calling for the whole world to come and see you. The whole world come and see you. They are robbing us. They are rigging us. We do not have election materials. Just same old things. Why would anybody love to subject themselves to this every now and then? Why? I may not have the answer. I think some of you should. Because me, I believe, say, anybody who is doing something again and again and expecting a different result is possibly displaying the symptoms of insanity. That's what they said. And I believe that too, because it won't change anything. So they arrested who they call the the supposed chairman